The morning sun streams through our bedroom window in Palo Alto, casting long shadows across our California king bed. I watch Ethan sleep, his chest rising and falling in the gentle rhythm that has been my morning companion for 6 years. My fingers hover over my Apple Watch, checking the time, 6:43 a.m. Another restless night. The guilt sits heavy in my stomach, a constant companion these days. I slip out of bed, careful not to wake him, and pad across our heated marble floors to the ensuite bathroom. The woman in the mirror looks tired, haunted. Dark circles under my eyes betray the weight of my secrets. My phone buzzes softly, a message from Jim. Missing you. Breakfast at Blue Bottle? My heart races as I type back a quick "can't today." I hear Ethan stirring in the bedroom and quickly delete the conversation. This is what my life has become, a series of deleted messages and careful lies. The shower's hot water can't wash away the shame that clings to my skin. I step out, wrapping myself in one of our plush Turkish towels, and begin my morning routine. The expensive serums and creams feel like armor I put on each day. Morning, beautiful, Ethan calls from the bedroom. His voice still makes my heart ache with a mixture of love and guilt. He appears in the doorway, sleep-tousled and handsome in his Tesla-branded pajamas. Early meeting, he asks, pressing a kiss to my temple. I nod, not trusting my voice. The lie comes easily now, like breathing. The Zoom call with Tokyo starts at 8. He believes me because he always has. Because I've never given him reason not to. Until now. The kitchen is all sleek surfaces and morning light. Our Jura coffee machine hums to life, brewing the artisanal beans Ethan insists on importing. I watch him move around the space, so at home in our carefully curated life. He's checking his email on his iPad, probably already solving some complex coding problem. Don't forget about Thanksgiving at my parents' next week, he says without looking up. My stomach clenches. The holiday season is approaching like an oncoming train, and I'm tied to the tracks. I won't, I promise, the words tasting bitter. The drive to work is a blur of Tesla autopilot and Silicon Valley traffic. San Francisco fog rolls over the hills like nature's own Instagram filter. My office at Edelman PR is all glass and views of the bay. A corner office that speaks of success and ambition. But today it feels like a glass cage. My phone buzzes again, Jim. Lunch? That new place on University Avenue? I should say no. I need to say no. 1 p.m., I type instead. The morning passes in a haze of client calls and email threads. My assistant brings me a green smoothie that I barely taste. At 12:45, I touch up my makeup and grab my Gucci bag. The restaurant is deliberately chosen, far enough from both our offices to avoid recognition. Jim is already there, looking every inch the Apple executive in his casual luxury wear. Lauren, he says, standing to greet me. His kiss lands too close to my mouth to be professional. We need to be careful, I whisper, even as I lean into his touch. We're always careful, he replies with that confident smile that first drew me in. The lunch is expensive and barely touched. We're hungry for something else. His hand finds mine under the table, and I feel my wedding ring press against my skin. It burns like a brand. Come to my place tonight, he murmurs. I should say no. I need to say no. What time? I ask instead. The afternoon stretches endlessly. My Instagram feed is full of perfect lives and perfect lies. I post a story about my busy day at the office. Ethan likes it immediately. The guilt threatens to choke me. At 6 p.m., I text Ethan about a late client emergency. Another lie to add to the growing pile. Jim's Atherton mansion is all glass and steel, like a modernist's dream. Or a nightmare of transparency. His kisses taste like expensive whiskey and sin. Later, lying in his bed, I check my Apple Watch. My elevated heart rate will show up in my health data. Another digital breadcrumb in this modern affair. Stay, Jim whispers against my neck. But we both know I won't. Can't. The drive home is a journey through fog and self-loathing. Ethan is still awake when I arrive, coding on his laptop in bed. How was the emergency? He asks. Exhausting, I say truthfully. He pulls me close, and I breathe in his familiar scent. The scent of home and safety and everything I'm risking. The days blur together in a rhythm of deception. Thanksgiving approaches like a deadline. The holiday preparations give me something to focus on besides my guilt. I throw myself into menu planning and decoration shopping at Whole Foods. Ethan's parents are coming from Boston. They've always treated me like a daughter. Another relationship I'm betraying. The night before Thanksgiving, I'm checking the turkey delivery status when my Apple Watch betrays me. Your heart rate was elevated at this location several times this month, the notification reads. I freeze, staring at the mapped location. Jim's house. Panic rises in my throat. I glance at Ethan, but he's absorbed in a video call with his team. Quickly, I delete the notification. But the fear remains. How many other digital footprints have I left? Thanksgiving morning dawns clear and crisp. The kind of California winter day that makes you forget it's winter at all. I'm up early, preparing the turkey with shaking hands. Ethan hugs me from behind, proud of his domestic goddess wife. If he only knew. His parents arrive at noon, bearing gifts and East Coast energy. Lauren, sweetheart, his mother exclaims, pulling me into a perfumed embrace. I hug her back, fighting tears. The day unfolds like a Norman Rockwell painting. Football on our massive TV. Wine flowing freely. Stories and laughter around our designer dining table. I play my part perfectly. The loving wife. The gracious hostess. The perfect daughter-in-law. But my phone burns in my pocket with unread messages from Jim. After dinner, while everyone is in a food coma, I slip away to the powder room. Miss you, Jim's message reads. Can't wait for tomorrow. I stare at myself in the mirror, barely recognizing the woman I've become. The woman who's living two lives. Who's loving two men? Who's lying to everyone? Back in the living room, Ethan's father is telling stories about Ethan's childhood. About the honest, trusting boy he was. Still is. My chest feels too tight. The wine turns sour in my stomach. Later that night, after his parents have gone to their hotel, Ethan and I clean up together. He bumps my hip playfully as we load the dishwasher. Thank you for today, he says, kissing my temple. It was perfect. I lean into him, memorizing this moment. knowing I'm about to destroy everything. Because tomorrow, I'm meeting Jim again. And I don't know how to stop. Don't know if I want to. The next morning, Black Friday, the city is alive with shoppers. I tell Ethan I'm going to the mall with friends. Instead, I drive to Jim's house. His wife is in New York, visiting family. We have the whole day. But something feels different. The air feels charged, like before a storm. Jim greets me with champagne and kisses. I have something for you, he says, producing a small blue box. Tiffany's. My hands shake as I open it. A delicate bracelet nestled in white satin. Jim, we can't. We can do whatever we want, he interrupts. His confidence has always been intoxicating. Dangerous. He fastens the bracelet around my wrist. It catches the light, throwing sparkles on the wall. Like warning signals I choose to ignore. We spend the day in his bed, ordering takeout and ignoring the world. But as the sun sets, reality creeps back in. I check my phone to find 3 missed calls from Ethan. Panic claws at my throat. I have to go, I say, already gathering my clothes. Jim watches from the bed, unbothered. Stay, he says again. But this time, something in his tone makes me pause. What are we doing, Jim? He sits up, sheets pulling around his waist. We're living, Lauren. Really living. But are we? Or are we just destroying everything in our path? I drive home with the radio off, lost in thought. The bracelet feels heavy on my wrist. I pull into our garage just as Ethan's Tesla arrives behind me. There you are, he says, relief evident in his voice. I was worried when you didn't answer. The guilt is a living thing in my chest. Sorry, my phone died. Another lie. He accepts it without question. Because he trusts me. Because he loves me. Because he doesn't know that every word out of my mouth is poison. That night, I lie awake beside him. The bracelet hidden in my gym bag feels like a ticking bomb. December arrives with twinkling lights. And holiday cheer. Silicon Valley transforms into a tech meets tradition wonderland. Our smart home system plays Christmas music on command. Ethan and I decorate our tree while drinking artisanal hot chocolate. It should be perfect. But perfection is exhausting when it's built on lies. The Apple holiday party looms on the horizon. Jim will be there. Ethan will be there. All my worlds colliding in one glittering evening. I should be terrified. Instead, I feel almost relieved. Something has to give. And maybe it's time. The week before the party, Ethan starts acting strange. Distant. Distracted. I catch him staring at his phone with an odd expression. For the first time, I wonder if he knows. If all my careful lies are unraveling. But he says nothing. And I don't ask. We're both playing our parts in this Silicon Valley tragedy. Waiting for the curtain to fall. The night of the party arrives clear and cold. I spend hours getting ready. The red dress is new. Expensive. Dangerous. Ethan whistles when he sees me. You look stunning, he says. His eyes hold something I can't read. The Apple Park is transformed for the holidays. Light installations worth millions. Food from Michelin-starred chefs. An open bar serving craft cocktails. A perfect setting for imperfect people. Jim finds me at the Champagne Tower. That dress should be illegal, he whispers. I should walk away. Instead, I let him fill my glass. The evening becomes a dance of stolen glances and casual touches. Ethan watches from across the room. I can feel his eyes on me. On us. The tension builds like a line of code approaching its breaking point. At midnight, Jim gestures toward the conference rooms. I know I should say no. No, this is too risky. But the champagne has made me reckless. The guilt has made me careless. I follow him down the quiet hallway. Away from the party. Away from my husband. Away from everything I should hold dear. The conference room is all glass and moonlight. Jim's kisses are urgent, demanding. We don't hear the door open. Don't notice we're no longer alone. Until Ethan's voice cuts through the silence. Well, isn't this cozy? And just like that, my carefully constructed world begins to crumble. The world stops spinning. Time freezes in this glass cage of my own making. Ethan's voice is ice and steel and broken dreams. Ethan, I whisper, his name catching in my throat. Jim steps away from me, but the damage is done. The moonlight streaming through the glass walls feels like a spotlight. Exposing. Accusing. Don't, Ethan says, holding up his hand. His eyes are darker than I've ever seen them. The party music thrums in the distance, a surreal backdrop to this nightmare. I can explain, I start, but the words sound hollow even to me. What can I possibly say? How do you explain destroying someone's world? Explain what, Lauren? Ethan's voice is deadly quiet. How long you've been fucking my wife, Jim? Jim straightens his tie, ever the composed executive. Let's be reasonable about this, Ethan. Wrong words. Catastrophically wrong. Ethan's laugh is a broken thing. Reasonable, he says. Like how reasonable my wife was being while sneaking around behind my back. My legs are shaking. The champagne turns to acid in my stomach. How long? Ethan asks again. Neither of us answer. How long? He roars. The sound echoes off the glass walls. 6 months, I whisper. The truth, finally. It tastes like ashes. Ethan nods slowly, processing. His calm is more terrifying than any anger. 6 months, he repeats. While I was planning our anniversary trip. While I was talking about starting a family. Each word is a knife. While I was loving you with everything I had. Tears stream down my face. I reach for him instinctively. He steps back as if my touch would burn. Don't you dare, he says. His voice breaks on the last word. Jim moves toward the door. I should go. Yes, you should, Ethan says. Run away, Jim. It's what cowards do best. Jim hesitates, looking at me. I can't meet his eyes. The click of the door closing behind him echoes like a gunshot. We stand in silence, husband and wife. Stranger and stranger. I loved you, Ethan says simply. Past tense. It breaks something inside me. I still love you, I whisper. No, he says. You don't get to say that. Not after this. He's right. I've lost that right. The party continues outside our glass bubble. Laughter and music floating up like a cruel joke. Get your things, Ethan says. I'm taking you to your sister's. Not home. Never home again. The drive is silent. San Francisco lights blur through my tears. My sister's surprise when she opens the door turns to understanding when she sees my face. I'll get the guest room ready, she says quietly. Ethan doesn't walk me to the door. Doesn't look at me as I step out of the car. Ethan, I try one last time.
Goodbye,
Lauren. The finality in his voice shatters me. I watch his Tesla disappear into the night, taking with it everything I once held dear. My sister doesn't ask questions, just holds me as I break apart. Hours pass in a haze of tears and regret. My phone buzzes repeatedly. Messages from Jim. I turn it off. Morning comes too soon. The sun rises on a world forever changed. My sister brings me coffee and reality. What happened? She finally asks. So I tell her. About Jim. About the lies. About how I destroyed the one pure thing in my life. She listens without judgment. But I see the disappointment in her eyes. You need to let him go, she says finally. Give him space. But space feels like dying. Days pass in a blur. I take leave from work. Avoid social media. Hide from the world I've shattered. Jim keeps trying to reach me. Through email. Through friends. Through work channels. I block them all. The affair feels a fever dream now. A moment of madness that cost me everything. Ethan files for divorce. The papers arrive at my sister's house. Clinical. Professional. Like our love never existed. I sign them with trembling hands. Watching my signature destroy 6 years of marriage. The holidays approach with mocking cheer. Christmas lights mock me from every window. Each carol feels like a requiem for my marriage. I hear through mutual friends that Ethan is destroying Jim. Systematically. Professionally. Personally. I should feel something about that. But I'm numb. Jim loses his job. His wife. His reputation. He tries to reach me one last time. We could start over, his email says. Somewhere new. I delete it without responding. He was never the prize. Just the weapon I used to destroy myself. January arrives with rain and revelations. I start therapy. Try to understand why I broke something so precious. The therapist asks about my childhood. About trust. About self-destruction. I don't have answers. Only questions that keep me awake at night. Ethan moves on. I see pictures on mutual friends' social media. He looks different. Harder. The trust in his eyes replaced by something cold. I did that. I broke that beautiful, trusting man. turned him into someone who can't believe in love. Spring comes to Silicon Valley. The hills turn green with promise. But some things don't grow back. Don't heal. Don't forgive. I leave Edelman. Leave San Francisco. The city holds too many ghosts. Too many memories. Too much pain. Seattle offers a fresh start. A new job. A new life. But the old one haunts me. In dreams, I'm still in that glass conference room. Still watching my world shatter. Still seeing the moment trust dies in Ethan's eyes. Time passes. Seasons change. I change. But some things remain constant. The guilt. The regret. The knowledge that I had something precious. And threw it away. Years later, I see Ethan at a tech conference. He's on stage, giving a keynote about trust in the digital age. The irony isn't lost on me. He looks good. Successful. Healed. I slip out before he can see me. Some wounds are best left undisturbed. That night, in my hotel room, I write him an email. Pour out my heart. My regrets. My apologies. Then delete it without sending. Some bridges stay burned. Some trust stays broken. Some loves become cautionary tales. I am that tale now. The woman who had everything. And chose nothing. The woman who learned too late. That trust, once broken, is like shattered glass. You can piece it back together. But it will never be whole again. And the cracks will always show. In the end, that's what remains. Not the passion. Not the excitement. Not the stolen moments with Jim. Just the memory of Ethan's face in that conference room. The moment everything changed. The moment I lost it all. And the knowledge that some mistakes you carry forever. Life has a way of teaching us lessons we never asked for. Mine came in a glass conference room on a December night. 5 years have passed since then. Seattle's rain washes away everything except memories. I've built a new life here. Different job. Different friends. Different Lauren. But some nights, when the city lights blur through my window, I still see his face. Still hear his voice. Still feel the weight of what I lost. My therapist says it's progress that I can talk about it now. About the affair. About the destruction. About the aftermath. But is it really progress when regret still tastes like morning coffee? The news comes through LinkedIn, of all places. Ethan Clark, CEO of TrustGuard, rings NYSE opening bell. His company, built from the ashes of our marriage, has gone public. The irony doesn't escape me. The man whose trust one destroyed now helps others protect theirs. I click through the photos before I can stop myself. He looks different. Confident. Successful. Happy. There's a woman beside him. Sarah, according to the tags. His new wife. She's beautiful in a natural way. The opposite of everything I am. Was. My finger hovers over the congratulations button. But what right do I have? To intrude on his happiness? To remind him of his pain? I close the app instead. Some ghosts should stay buried. The Seattle tech scene is smaller than Silicon Valley, but big enough to hide in. Until it isn't. The email arrives on a Tuesday morning. TrustGuard expanding to Seattle. All hands meeting to discuss acquisition. My heart stops. Starts again. Too fast. Because of course, this would happen. The universe has a cruel sense of humor. The meeting room is packed. Everyone excited about the acquisition. About joining the hottest cybersecurity startup in the country. I sit in the back. Hidden. Hoping. The screen flickers to life. And there he is. Ethan. Looking directly into the camera. Into me. Good morning, Seattle team. His voice is different. Deeper. More assured. He talks about trust. About security. About the future. I wonder if he knows I'm here. If he's seen my name on the employee list. If he cares. The meeting ends. People chat excitedly. I slip out. Back to my office. Back to safety. But safety is an illusion. The email arrives an hour later. My office. 3 p.m. From my new boss. I know before she speaks. The transition team from San Francisco arrives next week. Ethan Clark will be leading it personally. The world tilts sideways. Rights itself. Keeps spinning. Because that's what worlds do. Even when yours is collapsing. I spend the week preparing. For what? I'm not sure. Rehearsing words that will never be enough. Practicing smiles that will never reach my eyes. The Seattle rain turns to snow. Pure. Clean. Everything I'm not. Monday arrives with frost and fear. The office buzzes with anticipation. The great Ethan Clark. Coming to transform their world. He's already transformed mine. Twice now. The elevator doors open at 9 a.m. exactly. He steps out. Tall. Composed. Different. Our eyes meet across the lobby. Time stops. Starts. Shatters. Lauren, he says. Just my name. But it carries the weight of years. Of memories. Of mistakes. Ethan, I manage. Professional. Distant. Like we're strangers. Aren't we? His team flows around us. Sarah isn't with them. Small mercies. We should talk, he says. Not now. Later. When the day is done. When the office is empty. When there's no one to witness the aftermath. I nod. What else can I do? The day crawls by. Every meeting. Every presentation. Every casual interaction. Feels like walking on glass. Finally, the office empties. The Seattle skyline glows through the windows. His office door opens. Come in, Lauren. I step into the lion's den. He's standing by the window, silhouetted against the city lights. You look well, he says. A lie. I look haunted. We both know it. You too, I say. This, at least, is true. Success suits him. I didn't know you were here, he says. Would it have mattered? Yes. The honesty surprises us both. Silence stretches between us. 5 years of it. I'm sorry, I say finally. The words I should have said then. I know, he replies. But knowing isn't forgiving. Sarah seems lovely, I offer. A peace offering. She is, he says. She's pregnant. The news hits like a physical blow. Everything I denied him. Everything she's giving him. Congratulations, I manage. He nods. Studies me. Are you happy, Lauren? The question catches me off guard. I am different, I say finally. It's the most honest answer I can give. He understands. He's different too. Jim tried to contact me, he says suddenly. My heart stops. Last year. Wanted to apologize. Did you? No, he cuts me off. Some things don't deserve forgiveness. The words hang between us. Heavy with meaning. I should go, I say. He doesn't stop me. But at the door, his voice catches me. Lauren? I turn. I hope you find what you're looking for. Tears blur my vision as I walk away. Because I already found it. And lost it. In a glass conference room. 5 years ago. The next few weeks are a study in avoidance. Professional interactions only. Brief nods in hallways. Careful distance in meetings. Until the day Sarah visits. Her pregnancy obvious now. Glowing. Happy. Everything I could have been. Should have been. She's kind when we're introduced. Of course she is. She has nothing to fear from me. Not anymore. I watch them together. The casual touches. The shared smiles. The easy trust. Everything Ethan and I once had. Everything I destroyed. That night, I submit my resignation. Some patterns need to be broken. Some stories need to end. Ethan finds me packing my office. You don't have to leave, he say. But we both know I do. Take care of them, I say. Him. Her. Their unborn child. The family that could have been mine. He nods. Understanding everything I'm not saying. My last day dawns clear and cold. Seattle shrugs off its usual gray. A gift. Or a curse. Clarity when all I want is fog. The office throws a small party. Cake. Cards. Goodbyes. Ethan stays away. Another gift. Or curse. But as I leave for the last time. Cardboard box in my arms. He's waiting by my car. Where will you go? He asks. Boston, I say. A fresh start. He smiles slightly. Those seem to be your specialty. It should hurt. It does. But I deserve it.
Goodbye.
Ethan.
Goodbye.
Lauren. Simple words. Final words. I drive away, watching him fade in my rearview mirror. Like he did 5 years ago. Some stories don't have happy endings. Some mistakes can't be undone. Some loves become lessons. And some lessons you learn too late. End.